And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the LiuLi Cup. LiuLi Cup number 34, day number 2. I'm of course your live VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in the chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all to a continuation of a broadcast we did have just over a week ago. For those that are curious, for those who do not remember, for those who weren't here over a week ago, we were live casting day 1. Day 1 of LiuLi Cup was casted live here on the channel, and day 2 was the day right after. But at the time, we were otherwise committed to another broadcast. It's not like we weren't, we were just casting, we were casting something else. So much casting, so much StarCraft. At the time, we were casting OSC King of the Hill, the 200th edition, the edition that was featuring 30 best of ones, 30 best of ones back to back to back to back. So alas, we were otherwise focusing and preoccupied and committed to that broadcast, so we could not cast day 2 live. So now we're here. Now we're here just over a week later, covering and catching up on what happened day 2. Let's go. Let us go. So we're here to catch up. Again, LiuLi Cup is it's a consistent event, but it's very irregular. At times it's a weekly, at times it's a monthly. You know, every now and then, whenever the organizers see fit, there is a LiuLi Cup. This is the first one of 2025, and we're here for the second half of the broadcast. So for those who were not here or maybe don't remember what happened in day 1, let's catch up. Let's catch up on the brackets. Let's catch up on those matches. Bam! Here we go. This was the brackets of LiuLi Cup 34. And day 1 we covered the entirety of the quarterfinals. We did cast every single series. Again, the VODs are on YouTube. The VODs are available as we speak. If you are interested, you can divulge, you can dive in. We did feature Zoun. Zoun took down Solar 2-0. Classic took down Gumiho 2-1. Shin took down Cure, and Rogue took down Byun. As a result, we have purely mirror matchups remaining. Now, the quarterfinals are best of 3s, but the semifinals are not best of 3s. They are best of 5s instead. So we have 2 best of 5s and a best of 7 grand finals, and we have confirmation because of the mirror matchups. Best of 7 grand finals will be a PvZ regardless of the score, regardless of the results, unless there's some kind of crazy off racing. But alas, that typically isn't the case here amongst these players, as we have our PvP between Zoun and Classic, and we have our ZVZ between Shin and Rogue. Here we go. So we have our 2 best of 5s ahead of us. So we're going to be covering our semifinals, then we'll be going on a short break, then we'll be jumping into the grand finals thereafter. When it comes to a future LiuLi Cup 35, we have yet to have confirmation as to the date, but we'll make sure we're there. We'll make sure we're there live to cover it at the time, assuming there's no other big cast commitment that we have at the time. Again, our schedule's quite full, and I mentioned before even that very often we're turning down events to cast because we have so much casting, and this was an example of that, where we weren't able to cover this live, but we're at least here covering it here and now. Let's go. Let us go, as we are catching up. And our first series here is going to be Classic versus Zoun. As we jump into game 1, game 1 is going to be on Abyssal Reef. We go kick things off with our PvP. Again, Zoun here has been on fire as of late, and I do give him a lot of credit, I do give him a lot of praise, but he is up against one of the other best Protoss players in South Korea. It's not going to be an easy one, as spawning in the top left-hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we have the blue Protoss player from South Korea. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss, so the other South Korean Protoss, the red Protoss, it is Zoun. So we are going to be jumping on in. And again, thankfully, due to the fact that this is a longer series, the best of 5, we have less vetoes, and we're able to indulge and embrace Abyssal Reef. Abyssal Reef is a bit more of a rarer map nowadays. Again, we often see these older, larger maps vetoed. I'm referring to Abyssal Reef, Neon Violet Square, and King's Cove. They're often vetoed. We often do not feature them, but here in the best of 5, we have less vetoes. We can jump in here in game number 1. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen too many PvPs on this map. For those that are curious, this map is the second largest map in the map pool, second largest only to Neon Violet Square, has a very long rush distance by ground, and has a very defendable natural and third base. The reasoning for this is because of the very narrow ramp coming into the natural. Because of this, we often see a lot of economic builds making use of this and walling up and taking the natural base a little bit faster. We can see though that we do see Classic opening up, Zoun opening up 2 gates. Meanwhile, Classic gate into Saber. Classic he is going for the max opener. I do believe it is safe to do so on a larger map like Abyssal Reef. It's going to be on Zoun to attempt to punish this. So what's happening right now? Zoun, standard opener, 2 gate into a Cyber Core, into his 2 units of choice, into a delayed expansion. Classic is going for a Stargate into a faster Nexus. So again, a bit of a greedier build here is making the Zealot first. The reasoning for the Zealot is this should be a pylon block. The Probe should be pylon blocking, and the Zealot is to deal with that pylon block. Speaking of, yep, Probe does dip back down and is getting ready to block that expansion. So the Zealot is required. Cybercore is done. Once it's done, we have the Stargate. Now, the goal of this Stargate is to get oracles across the map to counterattack, to harass, and to apply damage or to apply pressure and get some damage done in the mineral line to gain an economic lead. If Classic feels like there's an all-in coming his way, he can also use this for Void Ray production as well. So the Zealot is out, so the Probe is zoned away, and the expansion is soon to be taken. Meanwhile, Zoun, how do we approach this? How do we catch up? Double Stalker. Interesting. Double Stalker opener. With these 2 Stalkers, we can gain map control, we can move out across the map and apply a lot of pressure, and we don't go for a second and third Stalker. We skip the 2 units, and we go for, instead, a faster Stargate. Okay, couple of things. Zoun, he knows Classic went for a Stargate, and Classic, the Scout, is denied. The Scout is denied. Classic has no idea what's going on. Zoun, with this Stargate response, with the Stargate follow-up, we can open up Phoenix and try to shut down and hunt down this Oracle and make sure that it gets no damage whatsoever. So we should be seeing a Phoenix response here from Zoun. Likewise, an expansion is delayed. Adept attempts to shade in, but is denied. Classic is going to be forced back. Meanwhile, ooh, Classic going for the Void Ray. I believe there's no expansion, so he believes there's going to be an all-in. There's going to be aggression coming his way. So a very safe response here by Classic, going for that Void Ray. Meanwhile, Phoenixes are amassing. As we mentioned, the Phoenixes are on the way. The goal is to deal with that Oracle. Oracle already takes a lot of damage. Does sustain some hits. Zoun did hide a pylon. That's why Classic does overreact. And there's shield batteries on the way. Stalkers, they have arrived. Phoenix pops out. Classic now confirms. Taking a lot of damage. Oracle does race back. Does get eyes on the reinforcements. And Zoun, he can't quite break through this. Not with that Void Ray. Ooh, as he will lose 1 Stalker. And Void Ray will shut him down. Likewise, Oracle shuts down the Adepts. And Zoun has yet... There we go. I was like, he's yet to expand. What's going on? There we go. Expansion is now on the way. But it is a late expansion. Right now, the pressure's on Zoun to get some damage done, and he did not catch the Oracle because of the Adept Scout. Remember, the Adept did get into the main base and did scout with the Stargate. So Classic has been more conservative. He's getting to his own Phoenixes. He scouted well. He reacted. He responded. And now Classic enjoys a better economy. He's setting up, settling in. Making more probes. Both players locked into Phoenix production. I believe the Phoenix count, yes, is slightly in favor of Zoun. So Zoun has more Phoenixes. Classic throws down a second Stargate. We are entering Phoenix Wars. The problem here is that Zoun doesn't know. Like, Zoun, he doesn't know that we're getting into this. Not yet. So he's reinforcing. Oracle moves out. Zoun trying to force his way in. There are 2 stasis traps. Until Zoun notice. Shades into the main. Oh! Goes to the mineral line. Phoenix's A zone away. There are defensive Stalkers. Phoenix's A try to go for the Void Ray, but they take a bit of hit. They take a couple hits. Force back. Stasis goes off. Catches out all the Stalkers. Aye. Stalkers are shut down, and Classic is holding. Classic is holding on. He's shutting this down. Does lose 3 workers, but outside of that, he does sustain himself. Oracle into the main, goes for stasis. And Zoun does react in time. Ooh, still takes 4 workers. Still will take some damage. Oracles do get caught out. And all the Stalkers as well. Yeah, Zoun bleeding out too much here. Oracle finally goes down. But overall, Classic takes a lead. Classic, he has a better economy. He has a larger army. Remember, he's making 2 pieces at a time. And now Classic is caught up and he can overwhelm. Zoun's in an awkward position here. Very awkward. Where he's down in workers, he's down in phoenixes, he's now getting his own second Stargate. Is now on the way. He's now kicking into high gear. But just a really awkward setup here for Zoun. Classic, he's up to 2 phoenixes. 8 to 6. Dives in, Classic can take the fight. Stalker does complicate things. Oh! Classic, he doesn't commit. Doesn't quite commit yet. Zoun's still trying to catch up. Classic's built up to 10. He's up 3 phoenixes. Catches out the Stalker. Stalker out of position. That's a brutal pickoff. And now he just commit. Yeah, he can overwhelm. Takes out phoenixes one after the other. Stalkers are coming to support. And Zoun just kind of hold his own. Not like this. As Phoenix count is getting close, getting even. Stalker's not quite supporting, but GG gets called down. He's overwhelmed. He just cannot keep up with the Phoenixes, and Classic will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Zoun will take a lead, and again, a really, I would say, awkward game, or uncomfortable game, where initially, Classic, he opened up greedily. We had Zoun trying to sneak up and try to catch him off guard with Phoenixes, but then he got scouted. Classic, upon scouting, he was in full control. He fully walled up. Shield batteries, Void Ray, second Stargate, Mass Phoenix, threw down the stasis traps, and Classic took a lead from there. Zoun, he was trying to be more aggressive. He was trying to be cheeky himself and trying to catch Classic off guard, but in the end, the turns were tabled, and Classic just completely shut Zoun down. GG. GG, well played. Classic does take a lead, and oh, sorry, there we go. Classic does take a lead, and now we're getting to game number 2. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the red Protoss player leading the series 1-0. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. It is Zoun. We go. So again, a very intense back and forth in game number 1, and we'll see how our players will approach this coming into game 2 as we are loading into Amygdala. Once again, another large map. Not as large, not as defendable as Abyssal Reef, but large nonetheless. And I wouldn't be surprised if Classic goes for the same build. Goes for a gate into Cybercore, into Faster Nexus, or into Stargate, then into Faster Nexus. Really, my eyes are going to be on Zoun. And already, you know, he had his own more unorthodox build or unorthodox response in the last game. We'll see if there's something more quirky here in game number 2. Or more standard. Eyes are on Zoun. For now, it looks like we do have a 2-gate opener out of our blue Protoss. Once again, 2-gate opener out of Zoun, 2 games in a row. Classic, as we mentioned, gate into Cybercore, into Tech. And Zoun does confirm. Confirms the missing second gateway. Here comes the Cybercore. Now it's on the way. Now on the way here. So now Zoun could be forced back. You see Classic attempting to expand, but he's making that first Zealot for that pylon, as we mentioned previously. Again, there should be a pylon block out of Zoun. The Zealot is here to stop that pylon block to allow Classic to expand, and Classic should be going for the Stargate. Ooh, as he does get the expansion. Not bad. Doesn't need the Stargate, it does get it down. Meanwhile, Classic, he canceled the Zealot just in time as well. Very impressive there. So Classic, he does save resources, he cancels the Zealot, he gets the expansion. Zoun was barely out of position, and with that, Classic takes an economic lead. So far, so good for Classic. Now, suddenly, the pressure is on Zoun to do some counter damage. Now, last game, he attempted to be cheeky and go Phoenixes. I don't see that happening or working again. Not here in Game 2 or even longer in this series. But now, 2 Stalker opener. Double Stalker first into... I was going to say 3rd and 4th Stalker, but no, we are skipping our Stalkers. Zoun is going for a faster expansion. So, double Stalker into Nexus. Classic coming with Hallucination. Classic will confirm there's a base on the way. He knows he does not need Void Rays. He knows that he's not being all in. So Classic is safe and sound. Yes, there are 2 Stalkers moving out. That is true, but Classic, he should be able to maintain himself. He has a shield battery on the way. He has a force field. He has a Guardian shield as well. He's ready. He is ready here. Zoun is attempting to contain. Likewise, that Stargate is almost done, and with this Stargate, we should be seeing an Orb. Again, there's no reason to make a Void Ray, not in this kind of game state. There's that Oracle in production. Meanwhile, Zoun, he is going for his own tech, going for a Twilight Council opener into Blink. Okay, my eyes are on Zoun. It's going to be Blink base play. Getting into Blink Stalkers. We are going to be settling in. Again, the pressure is still on Zoun to recover, to make up for his later expansion. With Blink Stalkers, he will gain map control, and he can, of course, counterattack thereafter. But until then, he's going to be stuck at home, and he has to keep up with the Oracles. And again, this is just a way for Classic to get further ahead. As he moves out with the first, and now he has a second Oracle on the way as well. First Oracle dips in. So far, Zoun is keeping up. Likewise, ooh, no shield battery in the main. Gets one. One probe goes down. Oracle gets a second, gets a third. 3 probe kills, not bad. 3 probes do fall. Oracle backs up, gets eyes on the 3rd base. This is going to be Zoun's recovery method here, is to get into a faster 3rd. But alas, losing out on more workers. It's going to be another 3 probes, 6 in total. 6 workers go down. Oracles, they back up. They can regather energy. They can recover shields. And Classic is going for a later expansion. Likewise, moving up with his ground army. I mean, he saw the 3rd. He wants to apply pressure. Wants to knock it down. That could be forced back by the army, by hallucinations. Ooh, Classic overextends. Takes a lot of hits. Oh no! Oh, there's no hiding here, and the Oracle does fall. Again, here on Amygdala, there's not enough space here to get away from those Stalkers. There's not enough dead space here in the corner. As he gets shut down. Still a bit of start for Classic, but now the 3rd base is done, and now Zoun can recover. Classic's own 3rd, still not yet complete. Still not yet complete. So Zoun, can make 3 probes at a time. He can chrono. You know, Classic catching up with his own blink. You can see Zoun now switching into his own charge. It's a very gateway heavy composition. Blink Stalker into charge slot. Ooh, stasis does go off. But now we have a game. Now we have a back and forth. Again, Zoun is recovering. And Classic, ooh, he double expands. Okay, that I was not quite expecting here. Ooh, as the Oracle does fall. Once again, Classic gets caught out, so both Oracles get hunted down. Classic is being greedy here. We'll see if he gets away with it. Now, the problem here, I was going to say the problem is that Zoun is trapped at home and has been stuck defending the entire game, and there's a high chance that Classic gets away with this. But Zoun, he just sniped both Oracles, right? Both Oracles just went down, so now there's that much less to keep him pinned at home. Now I can move out. Yeah, Prison's on the way. Gateway explosion. Stalkers a push. And we'll see what Zoun can get done. Now he pokes in at the same time. Tildeps, they shade in towards that natural. Tildeps, they can one-shot probes. They can and they will. Probes are falling. He gets 1, he gets 2. Almost up to 3. there's the recall, losing up to 4. Oh my god. This is getting out of hand. 5 probes go down, shading into the main as well, getting even more workers. And this should not have happened. 8 up to 9. Oh my god, barely not. 8 workers go down for 2 adepts. A massive win here for Classic, and he gets away with the fast 4th. Remember, he double expanded, and now Classic is up 15 probes, and now he can focus on the army. Classic just has to calm down and defend. No shield batteries. No shield batteries at the 4th base. Zoun, he's pushing, he's committed. He lost far too much. Now it's go time. It's go time for Zoun. Going for Zealot run by. Pushing in into that 4th. Charge is not done for Classic, but he does have the upgrade lead. He has +1. This one is helping. The Immortal has arrived. Zoun still making his way across the map. So far, still punishing these slow lots. Stalkers, they dive in. They blink forward. Zealots are going down. Classic is gaining ground here. At the same time, Zealots have yet to really get into a mineral line. But they're on the way. And they're making the way in towards that 3rd. Probes are falling. But these Stalkers that they expose, they catch out the Immortal. Massive pickoff. Immortal goes down. Still no shield battery. Second Immortal has arrived. Zoun, he's gaining ground. Here come those warp-ins. Here come the reinforcements. Zealots is still finally being cleaned up. Classic, he defends the 3rd, and now he's getting on top of those Stalkers. But still an awkward fight. Can't quite get on top of them. Ooh, the Immortal is gonna fall. Again, no shield battery. And Zoun looks like he can barely overwhelm this. Without any Immortals, he can and will overwhelm. Now catching up with the upgrades, he's got 1-1. He has a higher Stalker count. And with good uplink control, he should be able to break through this. Another Immortal has arrived, but he blinks on in. He dives just right away. Dives on the Immortal, brings it down. Zealots have arrived, and he does it. He breaks through. Classic just doesn't have enough. Down to a handful of Stalkers. And Zoun, he does it. And again, he was all in. Remember, Zoun, he lost a bunch of workers across the map. He did not replace them. GG gets called. And Zoun, he ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. Zoun does tie things up, and we have a series. We have a back and forth. Again, Classic, he was in a better economic game state for most of that game, but he needed more time to really make use of it. Unfortunately, he had no static defense either. I do think that was a bit of a misstep, considering how far ahead he was economically. He was up like 15 plus probes. He could have invested into a greater defense, but maybe a bit of overconfidence there from the side of Classic. He was torn apart. He was broken with that GG. GG, well played. Also, I should emphasize, very nice force fields out of Zoun to be able to choke up the army, to be able to deal with a portion at a time. He had better concaves as a result, better engagements, and just outtraded Classic. Did outtrade him. And with that, we're tied up. We're tied up, and we're going into game number 3. As a reminder, this is a best of 5. Best of 5, so we have plenty more games ahead of us. Plenty more games to come. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of King's Cove, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, being forced into a tied series. We'll see if we can bring it back. It is Classic. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the red Protoss player, tying up the series, bringing it back. Momentum is on his side. It is Zoun. We're tied up. What did I just tune into? Oh no. No, it's like we like it. We like it, Einstein. We like it. We like it when they're tied up. Oh no. That's what we're here for, but what do you mean? What are you talking about? It's more exciting that way. Oh god. Oh no. Oh no. As from here, we're going to be opening up. Welcome one and all to King's Cove. King's Cove, another one of these larger maps in the map pool. Likewise, we do expect more economic builds. Classic, once again, Gate, Saber, Expand, or I should say Gate, Saber into Stargate into Expansion. So same opener time and time again out of Classic. Zoun, once again, 2 gates. We have the same dynamic where most likely Classic is going to have the better economy, and the pressure is going to be on Zoun to fight back. As there is that Cyber Core. Zoun is on patrol. His goal here is to make sure that that expansion is delayed for as long as possible. Ah, ahí está. It's true though, it's true. Tie them all up. As so far the probe is on patrol. Classic trying to zone him away. But this time Classic will have to finish that Zealot. Zealot does pop out. And from here, Classic, he does have enough of the expansion, and he will get it down. So, Gate Cyber into Nexus before Stargate, so a bit of a greedier build here from Classic. From the side of Zoun, he does open up, Stalker Adept instead. So, Stalker Adept. With this, he can move out across the map, he can get some extra scouting information a little bit faster. Very middle of the road. And from here, going for his own expansion after the Stargate, though. Okay, Stargate opener first. Now, I am curious to see if Zoun opens up Phoenix. Again, as a reminder, he didn't see the timing of the expansion. There is a high chance that Classic opened up Stargate himself and is going Oracle like we've seen time and time again. So I wouldn't blame Zoun to go Phoenix, but Hallucination does scout. Hallucination does scout. We have a Stargate response from Classic. Do we enter Phoenix Wars? Zoun, does he have the wherewithal to begin Phoenixes first? Adept in the shade. Oracle. It's going to be an Oracle opener here out of Zoun. Adept doesn't get in. Deny some mining. But does not get into the main base. And again, Classic should be responding with Phoenixes. So Phoenixes are going to be on the way for Classic. He knows what's coming. We'll see if this Oracle finds any damage. As Zoun, he's not going into more Phoenixes. It's going to be Oracle into Twilight Council into Blink Stalker. So we are not getting into Phoenix Wars. Oh! As looks like we did have a pause at one point. Everything's okay. Likewise, Oracle does move out. Again, shout out to those at Little Fairy that do organize this event. Big shout out. It's also why we were able to cast the Fairy Cup not too long ago either. Big shout out. So Oracle heads towards that main. Heads into the mineral line. Not bad. Gets a couple of workers. Zoun making his way into the main. Once again gets a third probe. But Phoenixes are revealed and the Oracle up. Ooh, doesn't recall in time. Oracle goes down. And Classic gains map control. As a reminder, Classic, remember, he saw the Stargate earlier. He made the decision to respond with his own to build up Phoenixes, and now he has gained map control. As now he's trying to transition into his own Blink Stalkers. Blink is on the way. Stalkers are amassing. And without a high Phoenix count, I believe Zoun should be okay. He should be able to maintain his economy. Yeah. Just not enough Phoenixes this early on. So far as Zoun, he's holding on. Likewise, fake Oracle across the map. Classic taking a third. And he will expand. We'll take the expansion. Likewise, going Phoenix into early Immortal production. Now, these Immortals are really necessary right now and really crucial for Classic. The reasoning for this, if you can tell, there's no Twilight Council. There is no Twilight Council, which means there's no Blink Stalkers. So Zoun, he's going to have a higher Stalker count. He's going to have a more mobile army as well. To make up for the Stalker deficit that Classic has, he needs those Immortals. As again, all it takes is a couple of Immortals to deal with a group of Stalkers. So less mobile, but Classic is going to be taking more defensive routes back at home. Likewise, going for his own Forge into +1. Phoenixes, they're gaining map control. They scout the third base. Classic knows that both players are expanding, so he knows he's safe. Zoun is trying to hunt down those Phoenixes. Does find them. Stalker going to go down. Zoun counterattack instead. He's spotted by the Observer. Classic sees. Classic is ready. He's got force fields, he's got immortals, soon to be a shield battery as well. So because they dive into the natural, not bad, catching up some probes. 3, 4, 5 probes going down, massive damage, 6 probes even, oh my god. 6 workers do fall, there's the recall, it's down, very nice damage, gets away and doesn't lose a single stalker. And with that recall, he catches out the Phoenixes, oh my, the 2 for 1. Phoenixes, they get caught, 2 of them go down, classic, falling apart a little bit here. Will lose his worker lead, loses a lot of Phoenixes. And Zoun is switching up and going into charge. So again, very gateway-centric composition. Swarm Toss, if you will. Mass Stalker, Mass Zealot. Into Archons. Classic, trying to meet up with him as well. Going for a very similar composition, except for a lower Stalker count and instead a higher Immortal count. That's where the big deviation is going to lie. And we'll see what else Zoun can accomplish. As a reminder, Zoun with all these Winged Stalkers, he does have map control. He can opt to try to poke into the natural, poking into the main base, delaying and denying the 4th base, containing Classic. As he attempts to contain, Classic does sneak out with a couple of adepts. Does sneak out, shades in, goes to the mineral line, until adepts say one-shot probes. And that's 3, that's 4, that's 5 workers already going. Oh my, this is getting out of hand. The slow lots, they're coming in. Slow lots trying to keep up. 8 probes do fall. Phoenix is into the main, Shield is not ready. Oh, and Zoun, he's one instead falling apart here. He's getting torn apart back at home. 10 workers going down. He gets a pylon, but that's not good enough. It does supply both Classic. Does get supply blocked. Another way in, shades in for a second time. That's 12 workers in total. That's 12 probes with 2 adepts, by the way. Those are the same 2 adepts. They got out, they got back in. Crazy. Just like that, Classic is back in this. Now, Zoun, he's still maintaining map control, and this is the big advantage here of that, is that there's no 4th. Classic, there is no 4th base. He's still stuck on 3 bases. And Zoun will take a faster expansion, at least for the time being. Zoun, he rotates. Oh, okay, doesn't get a Stalker. Barely not. Classic now takes a 4th. It's going to be on Zoun to rotate and try to force a cancel. See if you can. Oh. Can so far, Classic keep me up. Does snipe the Observer. Oh, goes to the Phoenix. Gets one. Takes down one. Doesn't quite get the other. Zoun getting caught out. These are rough trades for Zoun. He's bleeding out Stalkers for Zealots. So much more efficient pickles here out of Classic. Zoun has to get the hell out of here. Has to respect those Zealots. And again, this is the power of the Zealot in PvP. This is why you typically force out Archons. Speaking of, Zoun has his own. Building up his Archon count. Force back. Classic does take a slight supply lead. But this still comes down to the engagement. Basically, when the armies clash, these Zealots have to be so careful not to just A-move in. If they do, these Archons are just going to one-shot them. The Archons, they do so much splash damage. You have to be so careful with how you engage, pulling them back, spreading them out. Likewise, it's going to be the role of these Immortals to focus down the Archons as quickly as possible to allow your Zealots to overwhelm. Oh, speaking of, Archon almost falls. When it comes to Zealot control, it applies to both players. Zealots, they do charge in. And the Archons, they move forward. And with this Classic, he will deal with the Zealots. Actually, no, never mind. They're getting some of the Immortals. The Immortals are exposed. And the Immortals are going down. They should be protected by the Archons, but alas, they get caught out. Yeah, Zoun, he breaks through. He breaks through the defensive line, takes down the Immortals, takes down the Archons, takes down everything. Yeah, better engage here from Zoun. Immortals exposed, and Zoun, he will overwhelm then and there. GG gets caught, and Zoun in one fell swoop takes a lead. GG. does take a lead in the series. Unfortunately, those Immortals that were completely exposed, they got surrounded. They were the first things to get surrounded by the Zealots, actually. The Archons, they were focusing towards the top side instead. We had just Archon versus Archon, and alas, without those Immortals, Classic, he had no backbone to his army. And with that, GG. GG, well played. Zoun does fight back. Again, very tense back and forth. Both players dealing quite a lot of economic damage throughout the course of that game, but it came down to that one big engage, that one big fight. And Zoun is now one game away from claiming the series. Classic has to fight back here and now to force the ace match. Let's go. As once again, a rare sight in PvP. Up next, we're loading into Neon Violet Square. The advantage of these best of fives. True. Let's go. As spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Neon Violet Square, we have the red Brodos player. The red Brodos down in the series. The pressure is on the fight back here and now to force that ace match. It is a Classic. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the blue Protoss. We have the blue Protoss himself leading the series 2-1. He needs one more game to claim the series. It is Zoun. Here we go. Zoun just needs one more game. And welcome one and all to Neon Violet Square. Neon Violet Square being the largest map of the map pool. Because it's so large, we expect economic openers from not just Classic, I expect it from Zoun as well. We'll see. Oh, hello. As Zoun, I did notice his camera here yeah, I did notice the camera. Let's go. Zoun, he does deviate, does not go for the scout across the map. Zoun, he is on a mission for a proxy pylon. Let's go. Show us that pylon. What do you have for us? What do you got? Now, based on this location, this could be proxy. I was gonna say Stargate. Typically, proxy Stargate would be placed here, outside of the main. This could be a fake proxy or a proxy robo. What are we going for? Like, by ground, the rush distance isn't too far, so we could commit here into a robo to reinforce strike that natural. I can see a robo working, so we'll keep an eye on Zoun. But now, 2-gate opener out of Zoun. Classic going for a gate into Cybercore into expansion. Classic, again, he's going for the same opener every game in this series. It's been very trendy as of late from the Korean Protosses, but not Zoun. Clearly Zoun, he has not adopted this style, as that's going to be a Stargate before expansion. Now, the reasoning for this is a Classic. He sees that the pylon is missing. He's been counting pylons. He sees one. There should be two. There isn't. He knows that there's a proxy, and he doesn't know how committed it is. For all Classic knows, it could be a proxy Stargate, could be a fake proxy pylon, or it could be a proxy robo. We see one base all in. One base all in out of Zoun. Right now, the pressure's on Classic. You can see he's scouting. He's looking for the Stargate. So this is a common Stargate location, so he's checking. From here, he can go further towards the left-hand side, and likewise, he should be checking top right as well. And now he's searching for that pylon. Adept to the center. Alas, so far, Classic is in the dark. Doesn't know what's happening. Does open Oracle as well. Ooh, Phoenix? Okay, that I was not expecting. It's going to be a Phoenix opener here out of a Classic. It's a little bit indecisive. I don't know if you noticed. Classic went Oracle, and then Phoenix, and then Void Ray. He cycled through all three of them, and now he's settled in. And a Classic, he rescouts. He confirms there's still nothing in the main base. He does see a pylon, but no tech. Something is wrong. He's getting ready for the all-in. Shield batteries are on the way. He knows something is wrong. Adepts say threat in the shade. First Immortal has arrived, and we're going for a proxy gate as well to reinforce. And already Classic in trouble. Taking a lot of hits on that pylon. Pylon is exposed. Zell taking a lot of damage. Immortal is revealed, but here comes that Void Ray. Remember, we'll say Void Ray first. Second Void Ray is halfway done. The higher the Void Ray count, the stronger the defense is going to be for Classic. Throwing down the wall of shield batteries. Adepts say threat in the shade. Still a wall. Classic is still solid. And this prism has arrived. Now with this war prism, Zoun has defensive blink essentially. So he can pick up his units, he can shuffle them around, he can avoid shots, and he can reinforce. So Zoun has that much more micro potential. Pushing forward. Oh, almost does get the Stalker. Stalker goes down, massive pickup. Yeah, nice force fields, but alas, the army should be saved, and will be. So far, Zoun not losing a single unit. Yeah, he hasn't lost anything yet. The efficiency, the trades. So far, the control is solid, but he has to push into 3 shield batteries. There's 3 shield batteries ready. Now, Classic has to make sure he fights within range. Otherwise, what's the point? He goes down, does push in. Going for the pylon. Stalker under fire. Gets one. Takes down the pylon. A dead does fall. Well, the Stalker's taking a lot of hits. No Stalker's lost yet. Well, the shield virus does get depowered. The longer this goes on, the better it's going to be for Classic. He's up to 3 Void Rays. Soon to be 4. That's a lot of Void Rays. A lot of Void Rays here for Classic. There we go. 4th Void Ray has arrived. Now he has to preserve those prismatic alignments. He doesn't want to waste them. Ideally, you want to try to stagger your prismatic alignments as well. I'm referring to activating 2 at a time. So 2 Void Rays at a time instead of all 4. Otherwise, if you activate all 4, then Zoun can just wait you out, wait for it to run out, and then push in. So it is important to stagger them. We have a 5th Void Ray on the way. Rocks go down. Zoun going for a Twilight Council. Okay, is teching up here. Likewise, adepts into the main. Probes are going down. Gets 2. Gets 2 workers. Saves the adepts. Denies mining time. So if you have to dive in, we have Blink on the way. This is such a late Blink here from Zoun. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely convinced. Still building on more Void Rays. I would love to see a Robo. I'm a little bit concerned for Classic, but a Robo here would be ideal to stop Void Ray production and incorporate Immortals instead. Immortals and like a second gateway. You typically want to stop Void Rays just because they're not ideal. Immortals are greater defensively. Army moves out. Are we going for a base trade? No shot. Classic. He abandons his natural. We're going across the map. He's crazy. Adepts say get in. Zoun didn't notice. Bear that in mind. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what's going on. And the base trade is about to kick off. Do we recall? Void Rays are about to reveal themselves. Zoun has to make a choice. What do we do? Do we recall? Do we commit? He commits. But this is late. This is a late commitment here. Meanwhile, Blink is still on the way. Is it going to finish? Void Rays, they bust in. They deny Blink. And Twilight Council depowered. Zoun, late response, late reaction. He was out of position. The base is going to fall. Will depower some of these Stargates. I mean, Classic can now recall if he so chose to. They're now killing everything in the main. Oh, the force field! But there's no Blink. True, there is no Blink. There's no Blink Stalkers. Twilight Council goes down. There's that recall. Does recall back home. Zoun, can he take the fight? Boys are being pulled. Zoun, he commits. He gets 1. Takes out 1 Void Ray. There's 6 left. The probes are tanking a lot of hits. Down to 5. Classic is holding. He's shutting this down. GG gets called. Classic out positioning Zoun. And we're going to the ace match. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Zoun called completely with his pants down. He had no idea what was going on. He missed the entire army pushing right down mid, right down the center of the map. Zoun was completely out of position, and he was late to the base trade. He was late to the all-in. The last Classic was all over him. And with that, Classic forces the ace match. Let's go. One way or another, the game is about to end. We are loading into the final game of the series. We're loading into Ley Lines. Let's go. As spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss from the land of South Korea, tying up the series 2-2. And momentum is on his side. Can he claim it? Can he advance on to the grand finals? It is a classic. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player, the blue Protoss also from South Korea, being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? It is Zoun. Proper diamond attack. They were right all along, playing Void Rays from today. If you haven't been watching some pro StarCraft, Void Ray defensively is very common. It is the stock standard, especially when it comes to Classics opener. There's a reason why Stargate openers, or there's a reason why he goes Gate into Cybercore into Stargate, is for those Void Rays if he's being all in. That's kind of the big sticking point there, is that he only makes them if there's an all-in coming. As a reminder, Zoun did go for a proxy robo 1 base all-in, and that is where Void Rays do thrive. That is their niche in PvP. That is their role, I should say. So that's why Classic was forced into all those Void Rays. As time went on, it got better and better for Classic, and of course, as we were mentioning, Zoun, he missed the counterattack. He did miss the move out. And we're going for the same opener. So once again, Classic is going Gateway into Cybercore, into Stargate, into Expansion. And again, if he does feel threatened by an all-in, he will be making Void Rays, otherwise only Oracles into a standard game. So here we go. Really? Yes. Again, that's the purpose of the Stargate. That's why it's so. Well, that's why it can be so safe, just because it's a very versatile tech of choice, just to keep you safe. As Classic does get the expansion, nicely done. So with that, Classic, he's able to sneak down. The role of this probe was to pylon block, and Zoun, he failed to pylon block, so the expansion is thrown down, and Classic gets away with an even greedier build. So it feels bad for this probe. Wasn't quite able to pull it off. Classic does take an economic lead. Across the map, we have Zoun opening up 2 gates, and we'll see how he responds. See how he does respond. Here comes that hallucination scout across the map. The pressure is now on Zoun. Zoun is going for a later expansion, so Zoun is going to be behind economically. Here in this game state, the pressure is on Zoun to get damage done. So he's moving out. Zoun is moving out across the map as we speak. Right now, it's on Classic to be defensive. There's that shield battery on the way. Does need a little bit more time. Hallucination confirms that Zoun is expanding. So Classic confirms there's no 1 base all in. There's no proxy. Back at home, he's in position. Back at home is in position. Shield battery's almost done. Far hiding back against the army. Shield battery completes, and with that, Classic, he holds. Classic does hold on, going for another hallucination, trying to confirm the tech of choice from his opponents. We can see Classic going for a Twilight Council follow-up into Blink. Likewise, so is Zoun. So for the first time this series, both players are headed in the same direction early on. In other games, we've had Phoenix openers and Phoenix Wars and Oracle play. Immortal versus Blink Stalker. Not this time. This time Stalker versus Stalker. Okay. Let's confirm that, of course, there is saturation. We do see a Classic throws down 2 gates, so he's getting into a 3-gate setup. I believe Zoun is as well. Yep, 3rd gateway is on the way. So we got here in 2 different ways. Both players are working into 3-gate Blink, but what's important, look at the worker count. Classic does have a worker lead. The reason for this is the faster Nexus. So Classic still enjoys and maintains an advantage. Classic is ahead. Robo's on the way. This is going to be a Robo before the 3rd expansion. There are players that actually skip and delay their Robos. That is where DTs can end the game, but Classic's playing safe. He's playing safe. We'll have the Observer before taking that 3rd. Zoun is cutting corners. He's going for the 3rd base before the Robo. But I do believe that, Zoun, he should be cutting corners. Again, like, he's in a worse position, so he does need to expand as quickly as possible. So both players are expanding. Classic does get the safety observer. Again, did go Robo first. Zoun doesn't have detection. We, of course, know that there is no Dark Shrine from Classic. But this is the kind of game state where, I'm sure you've seen it before, DTs can sometimes walk in and end the game. If that was the case here, Zoun would be in trouble. And it happens. Thankfully, we have Blink. Zoun ready for his own Adept Harass. And we are establishing our thirds. We can calm things down and get in towards that mid game. Again, Classic still up 4 probes. There has been any harassment here from his opponent. Here comes the Gateway Explosion. Getting to charge. Now, similarly to on King's Cove, if you recall, this is going to come down to the eventual Charge Archon composition and going to come down to the fight. Going to come down to the engagement and how our players position, how they engage with each other. We're building up to that. And I don't think we're going to really end the game anytime before that happens. Like, there's no incentive for either player to push out without charge, without +1, without those Archons. I should say there's no incentive. There's no incentive for Classic. There is for Zoun. Zoun, he still has to be active. Remember, he's still been behind the entire time. Only slightly, but, I mean, in a mirror matchup, that can be everything. So Zoun is poking out. Classic spots him. Classic is ready. Again, does have that observer. As Classic is distracted, we do see Adepts. They do shade into the mineral line. And they get in. They get 1. They get 1. They get 2. Almost 3. Not bad. 3 probe kills. 3 workers go down. Zoun is catching up. Classic is still mining more for longer. But nice pickoffs here. Getting another probe. Getting the pylon. Zoun pulls away. Nice move so far. Ooh. Leaves out a Stalker. Toss without a Stalker, but so far well worth it for Zoun. 4th base on the way for Classic behind his army. And we're still waiting for that War Prism. Prism is on the way. We're waiting for those Zealot reinforcements. Classic is up an upgrade, but +1 is going to finish up in a couple of seconds for Zoun. He's not too far behind in that upgrade. Has either player thrown down a Templar Archives? The answer is no. Oh, it's way too soon. There it is. Templar Archives on the way for Classic. That's going to be for Archon production. Zoun has yet to throw down his own. Just now getting his 3rd base. Still no Archon play. Classic going for a Prism drop into the main. Going for a split push. I'll slip into the main base. Zoun doesn't spot this. He does react though. Does warp in. Warps in time. Take down the Zealot. So far, does maintain the economy. He defends. Zoun, he deflects the drop. And he goes for his own Templar Archives. But he needs a little bit more time to morph in those Archons. And I'm a little bit concerned here that Classic is going to strike before we can really embrace those Archons here for Zoun. Classic's moving in. +2 is almost done for Classic. He's going to try to hit that timing. Here comes the first Archon. First Archon for Zoun. Prism is yet to dive in. Classic does go right down mid. He avoids the main army. Goes for the expansion, takes down the shield battery. Shield battery goes down. Massive pickup. Ooh, barely does fall. And he kites back. He's got the concave. And Zoun being forced to retreat. We have a massive warping coming in. Zoun, he just has the 1 Archon. The only one. And it might not be enough. Gets a couple of nice shots off. Go Classic with a whole position micro. Heads towards the mineral line. Does try to head in. Pulls back. Once again, diving with the main army. He wants that Archon. Doesn't quite get it though. Not quite. Nice force field. Zoun controlling well. Does force field, does take a bit of engagement, but the base still goes down. And Classic, he can just commit in. He can break through, takes down the final Archon cells, they can just wreak havoc. 14 probes go down. Classic backs off though. Does back off. Does back off. I mean, he's happy with what he got. He got a base, he got a mineral line. Classic takes the lead. And again, Zoun just needed more time. He needed a little bit more time for additional Archons. And you can see that Classic, he was ahead like 5 probes the entire game, and it just led into this, right? It led into faster +2, faster Archons, faster timing, faster saturation, or just slightly faster for Classic. Zoun does catch an Immortal, not bad. Leaves an Archon. And Zoun's he's all in. At this point, he's completely all in. He sends it, but he's gonna get surrounded. Zelstay claps on the Immortals. GG gets called, and a Classic, he will claim this series at 3-2, advancing on to the finals. GG. GG, well played. Classic, he will claim the series, will advance on. Meanwhile, a shout out to Luis in the chat. Papiga, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenidos. Thank you so much for the raid. Ojalá que todo te va bien. Hopefully everything is going well over in the land of Luis. Gracias, gracias. Thank you so much. And welcome one and all to the LiuLi Cup number 34. GG, as a Classic does claim the first series, does advance on to the finals. And the question becomes, who will join him in those finals? Again, when it comes to this final game, Classic, he did have a slight advantage throughout the entirety of the game. It was quite impressive. He had a better economic start, and we didn't really see Zoun actually recover economically for quite some time. It took quite some time for Zoun to get any counter damage. If you recall, it was at the 3rd base where he got 3 probe kills, but up until that point, Classic was enjoying just a better economy, faster robo, faster forge, faster upgrades, like everything was just slightly faster for Classic. And as a result, he was able to attack that 4th base or that 3rd base with a higher Archon count as well. We saw that Zoun, who was trying to hold on with just the 1 Archon. He was down in upgrades as well. He was barely struggling to keep up, and he was overwhelmed. GG. GG, well played. Again, in a mirror matchup, it can be really difficult to recover from a deficit. It can be just really difficult just because you have the same tools as your opponents, and it's, yeah, not easy to recover, to bounce back. Regardless, GG, congratulations. Shout out to Zoun for making it this far in the tournaments, but now we are getting ready for our next semifinals. Up next, we have a ZVZ between Shin and Rogue. Let's go.